Commander Roy Reeves stood in the dimly lit bridge of the Oblivion's wake, staring at the anomaly through the viewport. It wasn't a black hole. It wasn't a wormhole. It wasn't anything they could define. It pulsed, a swirling vortex of shifting geometric patterns, like a wound in space itself. They called it the Vanishing Point. Every ship that had ever crossed its event horizon had disappeared. No wreckage, no distress beacons, just gone. And yet, moments ago, Reeves' comms officer had picked up something impossible, a transmission from one of the lost ships. "Commander?" Lieutenant Soren's voice wavered as she patched the signal through. Static filled the bridge, warping into fragmented whispers. Then a voice, distant but familiar. "This is Captain Roy Reeve. Oblivion's wake. Do not enter. I repeat, do not enter." Reeves' blood ran cold. That was his voice, but he had never spoken those words before. "Is this some kind of looped transmission?" he asked. Soren shook her head. "Negative. The signal's origin is—" She hesitated. "It's coming from inside the anomaly." A chill settled over the crew. The anomaly had never responded before. But now, it was calling back. Reeve clenched his fists. "Send a probe!" The small reconnaissance drone launched, its thrusters glowing faintly as it drifted toward the churning vortex. The moment it crossed the threshold, the feed from its cameras went dark, gone, just like the others. Except this time, it came back. The drone reappeared seconds later, emerging from the anomaly. But something was wrong. "Commander," Soren whispered. The probe's hull was corroded, covered in markings, etched symbols that hadn't been there before. And then its feed flickered to life. A figure stood inside the anomaly, staring back at them. Reeve, older, his eyes sunken, his suit tattered. He lifted a hand, his lips moving in silent warning. And then the power on the ship surged. Every console flickered. The ship's engines roared to life, on their own. The Oblivion's wake was being pulled forward. Reeve grabbed the controls, fighting against the unseen force. "Full reverse! Get us out of here!" The anomaly pulsed. The ship shuddered. And in the last moment, before the darkness swallowed them whole, Reeve heard his own voice whisper through the speakers. "You should have listened." The Starfarer's wake drifted silently through the void, its sleek hull reflecting the eerie glow of the cosmic anomaly ahead. Captain Adam Kane stood at the observation deck, eyes locked on the colossal alien structure suspended in space, a construct of unknown origin, its surface adorned with glowing runes that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Captain, we're receiving something," came the voice of his communications officer, Iko Voss. Not a standard transmission, more like echoes. Kane turned. "Echoes?" Iko's fingers danced across her console. "It's as if the structure is speaking, but in fragments. I'm trying to decipher it." The ship's AI, Nova, interjected. "The construct is ancient, predating all known civilizations. Energy readings suggest it is still active." Kane's stomach tightened. "Active, as in functional?" "More than that," Nova responded. "It's aware." A cold dread settled over the crew. As if in response, the alien runes flared brighter. Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered, and a deep, resonant hum filled the air, a sound that bypassed the ears and resonated inside their bones. The view screen distorted, revealing glimpses of something impossible. "Captain," Iko whispered, her voice hollow, "I'm seeing us." On the display, reflections of the Starfarer's wake appeared, countless versions, each slightly different. In one, the ship was derelict, drifting lifelessly. In another, Kane was missing from the bridge. In yet another, something else was on board, staring back at them. Then, a voice. "Return." The ship trembled as if gripped by an unseen force. The construct's glow intensified, the swirling cosmic anomaly behind it expanding like a hungry maw. Kane clenched his fists. "Nova! Reverse thrusters! Now!" "No effect," the AI responded. "We're being pulled in." The view screen flashed again, revealing a final glimpse, an image of the Starfarer's wake, decades older, emerging from the anomaly with a crew that was no longer human. The realization hit Kane like a thunderbolt. This wasn't just a structure. It was a convergence point, a place where time and existence overlapped, where past, present, and future became one. Aiko turned to him, her eyes wide with horror. "Captain, I think we've already been here before." The runes pulsed, the anomaly roared, and the Starfarer's wake vanished into the void. The anomaly hung in space, like a wound in the fabric of the universe, a swirling vortex of light and shadow, its edges crackling with energy that defied all known physics, and at its threshold, an enormous structure drifted in silence. It wasn't a natural formation, it had been built. Commander Claire Voss at the viewport of the Elos 9, her breath shallow as she took in the impossible sight. The structure was ancient, its surface marked with glowing glyphs in a language unknown to any recorded civilization. It was not abandoned. Power still hummed through its core, casting faint pulses of energy into the void. "Scan results are inconclusive," her navigator, Velan, muttered. "The material isn't on any known periodic table. And, Captain, the structure isn't stationary." Claire turned to him. "Explain." "It's moving, slowly, but in a precise orbit around the anomaly, like it's tethered to it." A cold shiver ran through Claire's spine. "Docking sequence engaged," came the voice of the ship's AI. "What?" Claire snapped. "Who gave that order?" No one answered. A tremor ran through the ship as unseen forces pulled them toward the monument. The lights flickered, the screens scrambled with static, and a whisper, faint, mechanical, yet undeniably ancient, filled the cabin. "They are watching." Claire's fingers tightened around the console as the Elos 9 locked into place at an entry hatch. The doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a tunnel bathed in ethereal blue light. No one spoke. No one moved. Then the whisper returned. "Enter, traveler. The architects have been waiting." Claire swallowed hard. There was no turning back now. She stepped forward, into the unknown.